Welcome to Insights in Business. We are coming to you from the Shaw Studio on Rob Ron Road in Campbell River. We are live to tape. I'm Mary Ruth Snyder, the Executive Director of the Campbell River and District Chamber of Commerce. Our guest today is Fran Wilson, who is the Assistant Manager at the Return It Center here in Campbell River. Fran, welcome. We are so happy to have you here to talk all things recycling. Now, before we get into that, let's talk about you. So, where was it that you were born and raised?
I was born and raised in Victoria.
Oh, so you're an island girl.
I'm an island girl, yeah.
All right. How long were you in Victoria for?
50-some years.
And then you came up here?
Moved to Campbell River in 2004.
Okay, so you've been in Campbell River for almost 15 years.
Almost 20 years.
Almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Oh, time goes by so fast.
It does.
Now, what high school did you go to down in Victoria?
Vic High.
Oh, Vic High, in the old building. Oh,
Yes.
that's a beautiful old building.
It is.
Did you do any post-secondary?
Yes, I did office administration at Camosun College.
Oh, okay. Now, were you in the young building? That big old building at Camosun, like on the Lansdowne campus there?
No, I was actually in the old, it was an old high school on Cary Road.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the high school.
Oh, that's
anymore,
okay.
but-
That's okay. So what was your first job coming out of college? What did you do first?
Oh, I worked in the company's office, the BC government
Oh, okay.
company's office, yeah.
Awesome.
I
And
did that.
what was
and
that experience like for you?
It was interesting. It was interesting. We'll just say that.
Now, was it different than what you expected it to be?
Somewhat, yeah. It was. I enjoyed office work in the private sector.
Okay.
As opposed to the public sector.
What was it about working in the government offices that surprised you?
Just, I don't know how to explain it.
No, that's what
it just wasn't what I expected.
Okay. And then at some point you found your way to Campbell River.
I did. My late husband and I moved here to retire.
Oh, okay.
And then things changed.
Yeah. Now, how long have you been working with the Return It Center?
I've been there 15 years now.
Okay. 15 years. Okay. All right. That's a good stretch. And now, and how long have you been the assistant manager?
About 6 years now.
Okay. So when you started at the Return It Center, did you start there because it was a recycling center? Like, was that something that you felt was making a difference? Or did you start because you needed or you wanted to work?
Well, it was a combination, actually. I was looking for employment, and yeah, I was interested in the recycling thing. So when I saw that position available, I went and applied.
Okay. Now, once you started working there, what was the one thing that stood out for you, like in your first, couple of weeks or first couple of months? What was it that surprised you?
Oh, just the volume. Well, it was shortly after I started there. When I first started, it was just a bottle depot.
Oh, okay.
And it was just after I started there that they picked up the electronics program and, expanded everything. And I still can't believe how many TVs, for example, come in. It's like everybody in Campbell River must have 10 TVs, 8 of them broken.
Right. Now, is there, like, it started as a bottle depot, And what was the first thing that was added? Was it more of the cardboard and mixed paper, or was
No,
it
that
more
was
cans?
that was later on.
Okay.
We always took cardboard and paper, smaller quantities of it, because
Okay.
there was the green bins around town.
Yeah.
But once they took those away, then we became the place for
Okay.
all of the styrofoam and
Okay.
newspapers and glass bottles and
Now,
non-refundable
right.
glass. Yeah.
Right. Now, I know a lot of people, they might not even do the, now, are you still a bottle return depot as well?
Oh yeah.
So you literally do
Absolutely.
all of it? Okay. All right. And how many staff are there at the
We have
return
10.
center? 10 staff. 10 staff. Oh, that's quite an operation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what would you say? I'm sure you've had a lot of questions over the years from people that come in. Can you recall a question you had from somebody that was just the strangest question you've ever heard about the recycling, or what they could recycle, or is there anything that stands out?
No, I wish. There's a million strange things. There's not a day goes by that there isn't a strange question.
What's the most recent one that you remember?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, we can come back to that.
Yeah, thanks.
So with the recycling, there is some, not a lot, there is some skepticism in the general population about whether recycling makes a difference. Now, you've been working in it for 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
What is your personal belief around if it's making a difference or not?
Oh, it absolutely is. I mean, the volume of that we have there, if that was left to the landfill, well, it couldn't. It's just, there's just so much material that for years was just thrown in the landfill, and now it's being reused, recycled, reused, return. It's all ours, right?
Right.
Reuse, return, recycle. Yeah.
So let's maybe take one classification item at a time. So you've got the return it bottles.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens to the return it bottles after you guys take the bottles in and you give people their 35 cents a bottle or whatever they're getting? Where do all those bottles go that are returned for a little bit of money?
The cans are melted down and turned back into aluminum cans.
Okay.
The bottles, like glass bottles, with local beer companies, they reuse the bottles.
Okay.
All of the other glass bottles are ground down and used for road fill. They make fiberglass insulation.
Oh.
So yeah, there's each.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah, and
Okay.
your tomato juice cans,
Yeah.
that type. They're bimetal. They're melted down and used again, reused,
Okay.
made into new cans.
Well, the glass is really fascinating to me because I know that one of there's two things happening globally, is that we're starting to run out of the type of sand that they use for concrete.
Right.
And they're also running out of the sand that they use to make glass, because glass is made from sand. So it's interesting. So is there a process in place that you know of where glass is turned back into glass again, or is it always turned into like road fill or something?
No, other products.
It's always
yeah.
turned into other products.
Yeah, not into.
Okay, and so is the grinding down of the glass, is that happening in BC or somewhere in Canada that you're aware of, or?
I believe it's all done in BC.
Okay.
Yeah, Encore's is in Alberta and BC. And
Okay.
I believe all of the stuff that we have is handled
Wow.
here. Yeah.
Okay. And then, so that's the glass, and then,
And that's actually where you were saying about people being skeptical.
Yeah.
People still believe that it's just coming to us and then going to the landfill. That we hear that one constantly, and it really is being recycled now. There was a short time when they were struggling to figure out what to do with it, but
Okay.
yeah, that's not what it is now.
Okay. And then in terms, and then let's talk about plastic, because plastic has become a real issue in terms of the volume of hard plastics and soft plastics.
Right.
So, and just in terms of the packaging that is on consumer products, like it's just, it's a lot. It's way more than it needs to be. It's way more than it needs to be. So in terms, let's talk about the hard plastic. So what happens to the hard plastic that comes in?
We actually don't handle the rigid plastic at the depot. That, unfortunately, still it goes to the landfill.
You mean, no, I mean like laundry bottles and that
that
those
kind of stuff. Oh yeah, that comes to us. I thought you meant like the hard, like chair, plastic
Oh, no,
chairs.
yeah, no.
Well, that's what the plastics are made back into. Like your plastics will be made into plastic furniture and that kind of thing. Your soft plastics, they're made back into plastic bags and bottles and things.
So they have a system in place where they take all the soft plastics, like your grocery bags and your soft packaging, like the saran wraps and that type of stuff.
Yeah, your
so
overwrap,
They overwrap.
Yeah.
So they take all that and then they clean it and reset.
There is a process.
And then it gets turned back into bags.
Into plastic.
Into plastic. Yeah. Okay. That's fascinating. So, and
it's also, plastics is used in fabric now. I should have brought one.
Okay.
We have our Return It shirts.
Yeah.
It says on them, I used to be a plastic bag.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the material is 50% cotton and 50% poly, and it's so soft, and it's wonderful. So there really are things that, it's wonderful material. So there really are good things that can be done with plastic.
All right. Well, that's good to know. Now, you know what I'd really like to see happen, and I'm going totally off topic, well, not completely off topic, but I wish that there was a way to grab all of that plastic that they have now found in the ocean and pull it out and then do the recycling with it. So I guess that's my other question. Like when you hear these stories of all of this plastic bottles everywhere and and this big plastic blob that's floating around in the ocean, like, what do you think, like, why do you think there are still people that just toss things and don't, put them in their car and put it in their recycling? Like, why do you think the message just isn't resonating?
I wish I knew the answer to that. We have some customers that's what they do. Like, we have one elderly couple they just walk the highway and pick up things, and they'll come in with, $100 worth of stuff that they, just walking down the highway.
Oh my
I
God.
know. They collect, and then once a week they'll come in. Yes.
That's extraordinary.
Yeah, and that's just from picking up things along the highway.
And that's here in BC?
That's here, yes. That's just walking up between here and basically the highway, or the turn off to the airport. That's where they do their walk.
So between the Return It Center and the Jubilee Parkway,
that's what they walk.
They walk that, and they
walk
still come in with almost $100 worth of bottles.
Yes, every week.
How is that people?
I know.
Honest to God.
I know, because if you don't want to take them back yourself, you can always donate them. There's always
somebody doing a bottle drive.
There sure is. During COVID, that kind of slowed down.
Yeah.
But no, there's always people. If people look on social media, on Facebook, there's always people saying that they're willing to come and pick up your cans and
Yeah.
bottles and
Yeah.
things. Yeah. So there's
Holy
really no need for
Toledo.
it.
There is. I'm shocked that I'm absolutely stunned that here in Campbell River you're able to walk that short of a distance and collect that many bottles every week
Yeah.
from people discarding them out of their vehicles. That makes me sad, actually,
It makes me sad too.
and very disappointed.
Yeah.
Very disappointed. I don't even know what to do with that piece. Okay, we're going to set that aside before I get really mad.
Okay.
Okay. So, well, I'm really glad that the senior citizens are taking it upon themselves to walk the highway and clean up after everybody.
Oh.
That's ridiculous that they have to do that,
Yeah.
but wonderful that they're
they're-
taking that initiative.
Yeah.
Okay. So the cans get melted down, the plastics get turned into plastics. So let's talk about the electronics.
Okay.
Now, most of us have probably seen reports in the news over the last decade or watched documentaries on Netflix or somewhere else that show these gigantic electronic dismantling things on a beach in a faraway land offshore, and it's from North America, stuff from
Yes.
North America that's been shipped there. When we bring a piece of electronics to you, what happens to it?
It is handled locally. It's shipped, I believe, to Annacis Island, and that's where the things are dismantled. And then the materials are like, some of it will go to trail to the smelter, and they melt it down. There's a lot of precious metals in your
Oh, there is.
like in your TVs and
Yeah.
anything like that.
So they extract all the precious metals,
Yeah,
and then so the precious metals go to trail to the smelter.
that would,
Okay. And then all the other parts, like some of it's plastic,
a
so
lot
that
of
would
it's
get
plastic. So
and then
yeah.
okay, so that would all get sorted out. So they literally take apart the electronics down to nothing, and every little piece of it gets recycled appropriately.
Yes.
And it's all done in BC.
It's all done in BC.
So none of it's going offshore.
None of it's going offshore.
Well, that gives me hope.
Yes, me too.
So that's hopeful
Yes.
to know that. So because you've been working in this for 15 years, what would you, if you come across somebody that's not a recycler and that doesn't bother, there's no point, what would you say to them? Speak from your heart. Like,
Well,
what would you
that
say to
there's
them?
there's no reason to have that attitude. Recycling it's necessary. The landfills are just they're overfill, and there's no reason to not reuse things. Make them into like turn your garbage into something usable.
Right.
I always say the customers are getting cash for trash.
Right.
You know, whereas before they were just throwing it away. Like I would say to them, would you throw your dollar bills away or your dimes? Like, why do that?
Right.
And if they don't want to bother recycling themselves, they can always donate.
Okay.
Other people that'll do it.
Right. And I understand there's even a program, and I know you guys don't run it, but there's a program to donate old cars for,
Oh, yeah.
like, to the Kidney Foundation.
Yes,
They take old cars. And okay, all right. So that's the plastics. Now, and we've talked about the electronics. I'm really glad to hear that it's all done in BC. That makes me feel good as a British Columbian.
Yes.
Now, what are some of, like, what about paint? Is paint, what happens to paint?
Paint is recycled and made into, you can buy paint that says it's recycled material. They actually recycle paints into paint.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
And like, is there, like, what if somebody brings in like a can and it's a really nice color, and is there a way, instead of, because for whatever reason they couldn't use it anymore, like, is there a way for other people to use that paint while it's still in that
Yes,
condition?
we have a paint exchange program.
A what?
A paint exchange program.
Oh,
so
how does that
any
work?
paint that comes in, if it's relatively new, and there's enough in a can. We put it out, and people are quite welcome to take it free of charge.
So people can come, and you have a selection.
We have a shelf with paint on that they can.
And people can just come and take that paint.
Take it, yes, free
because
of charge.
they might want to paint a room, and they don't want to. It just needs a touch up, and
the price is right.
I guess it would be. That is fascinating. That's really interesting. I've never heard of that before. Do you know if do the paint stores do that as well? Do they do a pickup? They don't do.
No.
So it's only you guys that do a paint exchange. So somebody can bring cans of paint, and if they're newer, they get somebody else can come and take it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. And then where does the paint go that doesn't get chosen? Like it goes to get recycled, like it's old or whatever.
So it's handled on the mainland.
It's on the mainland.
It's in BC as well.
Okay. And so how do they how do they get rid of the color that's in the paint? Like,
no, you're asking the wrong person.
Okay. Well,
sorry.
That's for another show.
I wish I had that answer for you.
All right. Well, I'm going to figure out what that answer is for my next show.
I don't know. I don't like that answer.
All right. Well, I'll investigate that, because the fact that paint is getting recycled. Now, I noticed with some paint lately, they've moved from tin cans to plastic cans.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of that change, or is the hard plastic of the paint cans harder to recycle than the tin cans?
I would think that the hard plastic is harder to recycle.
Okay. But I think it is recyclable. Like it's got the triangle thingy on the bottom. Okay. So, all right. Well, I guess maybe they did that for rusting and
that would be the reason, because that is an issue with the metal cans.
With the metal cans.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So paint gets recycled. That is so cool.
It does.
That's right. So what else? Okay, let's talk batteries.
Same thing. Batteries are all recycled. All types. Your little household ones up to your batteries for cars and
even like car batteries too.
Car batteries. Yes.
So where do they go to the mainland as well to get broken down?
Yeah.
And so there must be a process in place that literally breaks the battery apart and all the acid goes away and and then do they make new batteries out of all? So they make new batteries from the old batteries.
Yeah.
Oh. That would be fascinating to see. I like that. That makes me happy too, to know, because batteries, like that's one of the biggest challenges when talking about electric cars, and like when you have the big battery packs in your house for solar panels, that's one of the arguments that people make, are like, sure, but what are we going to do with all these batteries when they aren't we need to find a way to work with it. So they actually recycle the actual battery into new batteries. Huh. I did not know that.
And a lot of times, like with your batteries from, say, like a laptop battery, there's so many cells in it, and oftentimes it's only the one cell that's not working. So they can be remade just that way.
Oh, okay. All right, I did not know that either. Okay. So is there anything else that you guys do that we haven't touched on yet? So the batteries, the paint, the glass, plastic, paper.
There's paper, there's styrofoam.
Oh, styrofoam. Okay, so what happens to styrofoam?
The styrofoam now is compressed, like it's made into almost like little squares, little blocks.
Yeah.
And then it's sold to like China they make things like picture frames and that kind of thing out of it, because it actually turns into almost like a plastic, right?
Oh, because styrofoam's got a lot of air in it, right? So they smush it.
Yeah.
They smush it.
They do. They smush it.
And then that gives it almost creates a new product just by smushing it.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Because styrofoam doesn't break down.
No.
Which has been, like, I remember a long time ago, like way back in the 80s, watching an Oprah show,
Yeah.
and she had the white styrofoam cup, and she said, "What's the half-life on this?" And it was like something like 500,000 years
Yeah.
for styrofoam, and I'm like, well, that's not
Why
good.
do they use it? Exactly.
Why are we using? Why create something that can't be? So anyway, well, that's good to know.
That's probably one of my biggest questions. Why do they create things that are so hard to recycle? But then, I'm not queen of recycling.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet. Come that day, everything will be made out of one thing.
Right. Well, I have noticed a lot less of those styrofoam peanuts. I haven't noticed those seem to be being faded out.
Yes.
And now I see a lot more cardboard.
There's more cardboard
stuff in around products. So that's a good thing. Because cardboard gets made into more cardboard, right? Like it gets broken down and then it gets made into more cardboard.
Yeah.
Okay. And then paper, that same thing gets made into
it's
more
all
paper.
compacted with cardboard.
Okay. That all gets compacted together or gets separated and made into two separate things? What you guys
Ours is compacted all together.
Oh, you guys do it together. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not the cardboard from refundable material, like not milk cartons, that kind of cardboard and that sort of thing. That's
let's talk about that. So what happens to those? The ones like the milk cartons?
Actually, that's a funny one, that like drink boxes and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
One of the products that is made out of that is toilet paper.
Get out of here.
Seriously. I always had fun with that with little children. I'd go, well, next time you see your drink box, it might be your toilet paper.
I did not know that.
It's made into paper products, toilet paper, paper towels, that type of material.
Okay. So, all right.
Yeah.
Well, if they do, I guess they need to have that recycled separately from the paper and cardboard because of the lining on the inside. Yeah. Okay. So it gets made into toilet paper.
Well, yes.
Well, isn't that something? All right. Well, Fran, I just want to thank you for the conversation today because I have learned so much, and I hope the audience has learned some as well.
I hope so.
And I really hope it encourages them to recycle because you can recycle everything. And I've also know that there's a lot more of these pop-up fix-it workshops that are happening. I know there's one down in Cumberland happening soon where you can bring things that aren't working, like a toaster or a coffee pot, and they just fix them, and then you take them home and you can use them again instead of all this.
Something that
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing that that's coming back because
it is.
We just turned into a total throwaway society.
Yeah, and we need to stop doing that, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Fran, so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us for this episode of Insights in Business. Have a wonderful time, and we'll see you again soon.